Okay, all right. So it cut off on me again. Um, we're gonna do part 3 here, and so like what I was saying is that the human needs to be stronger. The mind needs to be stronger than other people's, pulls and manipulations and things like that. The human needs to be able to say no confidently, be able to say no to people they respect, and in hopes that they respect their answer. Um, and that they don't, then even if they're family, you have to drop them or at least set boundaries. As you set boundaries to people, you're able to establish a clearer path for you, and it doesn't become so chaotic, and it doesn't feel like you need to be at somebody's doorstep as soon as they call or text or email you. You want to put a border around you to where almost as if you're a ship. You're cruising along the ocean with armor around you, and you're the only one in the ship, and you will allow people on your ship if you decide they will benefit your ship, and you will jump on other people's ship if you feel you can take something from them and put it on your ship. Look at it that way. You're not just a human, you're a ship. You're a tank, don't jump off your tank if you know you're gonna be running wild and naked. You want to jump off your tank with some tools that you've developed on your tank. Don't jump on somebody else's tank if you don't know anything about it. Don't jump into other people's problems if you don't know anything about it. Don't make other people's problems your problems. Don't take their product problems onto your tank, ship, or whatever it is that you want to ride through life. You're the man of your own ship. You're the man of your own tank. You're the woman of your own tank, ship, whatever it is that you want to, ride through life. You are the holder. Okay? Don't depend on other people, because other people waste your time more often than not. So I basically said say no to things that don't help you achieve your goals. Okay? If you know someone or something holding you back, you want to appreciate them. I'm sorry, if you know someone or something holding you back and don't appreciate them, you want to let them go. Okay? You want to let them go. You want to make sure that they're not in your life anymore, because if they're holding you back, if they're feeling like, if they're manipulating you, then why keep them in your loop, So you want to say no to drugs, addictions, people, media. Just learn to say no, and say yes to people who inspire you and respect you and motivate you and push you. Say yes to those people, because those people aren't bugging you. What they're doing is they're noticing your ability to perform, and they're pushing you, and you respect that, and you want to appreciate that, and so you are there for them, and it's a repeated circle. That's the kind of flow that you want. You want people who respect you and don't tell you what to do. They will only tell you what to do if they feel that you are capable of doing it. If they suggest something, hey, I see that you're going down this path. It could lead to this. Have you been thinking about doing this? I know it's scary. I know you're not used to doing that, but it's in similarity to what you're doing. And if you branch off to this part, right? Say you're a businessman, a salesman, or whatever, and then you want to go into speech. You're selling your product, so you need to develop good speech patterns. And speaking to bigger crowds, you want to develop your own product or whatever, and you want to start producing that product and selling that product, and you want to reach a wider audience. We've talked about this, how you need a connector to reach that wider audience. That's so that person is saying, you can do it. I know you can do it. So they're pushing you. So you want to respect that choice from them. And if you say no, they need to respect that choice. But when something like that happens, you kind of want to challenge it. You want to motivate yourself into challenging yourself into achieving that goal. And if you can't do it, just try harder, or just give up and just be like, you know what, I tried it, I just couldn't do it, I didn't want to do it. Maybe it'll come back again, and then that way you have already done it a little bit, and that way the second time it won't be so scary. It's just like talking to people out on the street. The first time you see them, you say hi. The second time you see them out on the street, it won't be so awkward because you've had that first interaction. If you dive into a goal the first time and you fail, that's okay. It won't be so scary and daunting the second time you go for it. The first time I was a server, it was scary. Second time I was a server, it wasn't so scary. So it says how many times that you do it, It won't be so scary the next time you do it. So So we're on the topic of just saying no. We went through our lists here, and it was list number the two list strategy where you do 25 goals, and then you circle out of those 25 goals 5 goals that are most important to you, okay, and then you concentrate fully on those 5 top goals and ignore the other 20 and avoid at all costs. The avoid at all cost list, you want to ignore that until you have achieved all 5 goals, or at least 1 or 2 or 3, and then plug in more important goals to you and do that at 80%, maximum effort. And as you do that, you put out more product. Instead of having a lot of half-done projects, you have less projects done at more timely manner, and they're more pristine. They're original, they're honest, and they're not half-assed, and they're not lazy. So 7 things most successful people say no to. Okay, so this is important. We want to say no. We want to get comfortable in saying no. Okay, so number 1, they say no to opportunities and things that don't excite them. So exactly what I was just saying is like showing up to parties or events or even social networking events, or just going and meeting up with old friends that you really just genuinely don't want to go and see because they don't or still haven't benefited you at all. So don't go. Don't show up to that. Don't show up to things that you don't want to or they expect you to, because you don't ever want to show up to somewhere where you're expected. You know what I mean? You always want to show up to places that challenge you, or that are unexpected, that aren't original. You don't want to be like, oh, of course he's here. Of course he's here. You don't want to be expected. Just say no to stuff. Be a mystery, okay? Be your own person. Develop your own ideas and theories. Because when you go to parties, when you go to things like that, what do? You just talk about the same thing over and over and over again. It's a waste of their time. It's a waste of your time. And as soon as you realize that, you start learning more. And you can use that time to read a freaking book or something. So they say no to opportunities that don't excite them. Number 2, they say no to superficial networking events, just like what I was saying. Why waste your time on, say you have some business cards or whatever, and you hand them out to all these other business people? What happens at the end of the day is all your business cards get thrown away in the trash can. So what you just did was a waste of money, waste of cards, a waste of time, waste of energy, a waste of a lot of shit. So don't go to meaningless networking events that don't benefit you. You're just roaming aimlessly through life thinking that you're productive. You're not productive at all. Sorry, that was my phone again. Don't waste your time or energy or money at networking events. Put that energy into building relationships. Okay? When you build relationships, people trust you, and you're honest with them, and they trust you, and you trust them, and you build a relationship, and that way you can sell your product to them. So when you talk to, say, 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, you have a product or whatever you want to sell, get to know them, shake their hand, build a relationship, get their number, get the contact information. That way, 5 contacts is a whole lot better than 100, wishy-washies. Why would you want those wishy-washies when you can concentrate on the 5, trustworthy, honest relationships that you have that probably buy more product than the majority of wishy-washies? So build relationships and stop wasting your time on meaningless business events that don't do you anything and don't do them anything, okay? You don't want to waste your time on that stuff. So we go into the third one, which is they say no to spending time with uninspiring, critical, or negative people who drag them down, okay? They don't waste their time with people who judge them or criticize them or make them feel like crap. They only spend time with people who motivate them, who push them, who challenge them, who know things about them that they don't know about, and they expect them to perform a certain way because they trust the other person. And they go, okay, well, if you think I can do it, all right. Because you trust people more than you trust yourself sometimes. And so you want to trust other people's opinions and thoughts, and because sometimes they know more than you, and your business, and they go, well, this is what you probably should be doing, and you don't think about that because you tell yourself no. You're your best worst enemy, as they say. You're your best criticism or criticizer. You know, you suck, you can't do it, blah, blah, blah. But other people don't do that. They see your efforts and your energy and your passion, and they see that and they know you're capable, but you yourself are putting yourself down. So don't hang around with uninspiring, critical, judgmental kind of folk. Spend time with people that respect your choices and push you to become a better person. Have a small group, if you will, rather than those 100 wishy-washies and those 100 wishy-washy acquaintances. Have 2 solid relationships, or 2 solid people, 1 solid person, 5 solid people, 10 solid people in your life that you know push you to your limit. Because nobody ever succeeds in anything by themselves. They always have somebody that they can thankful, like a mentor, teacher, a priest, a mother, a father, you know, a brother, a sister, anybody, a coworker, a friend, somebody that they, you know, leaned on. You know, a group, a musician, a group where one person gets all the fame and glory, but in back there's, you know, the backup singers and the drummer and the bass player. There's a group of successes in this. So they say no to overworking, which is 40 to 60, sometimes pushing it to 80 hours, but no more. Some people do 100 hours a week. That's near damn impossible to the human body's capacity. You want to minimize your work and the amount of work that you do, and relax a little bit. You know, take a chill pill and have a glass of wine and just relax. You don't want to overpush yourself. Sure, it's okay to overwork a little bit, but don't overwork every week, you know, all the time. Okay, they say no to doing all that work. Okay, to doing all the work. They put it off. They realize that there are more important things in life than just work. Okay, they put work at the same level, if not lower maybe, to family, friends, and socializing, because they know that's a whole lot more important than work. If you think work is more important than friends, family, socializing, relaxing, yoga, meditating, eating, nature, if you think work is more important than all of that, you lost your damn head, okay? Because you're putting yourself in a position where you're going to become very lonely. You're not making any friends. You're putting yourself in a position where everybody doesn't like you because you're always working, and you're just not fun to be around with ever because you just haven't developed any social skills. So put yourself in positions where you have to socialize a little bit, and don't put your concentration on work all the time. I know I say no to meaningless events, but sometimes meaningless events can become meaningful if you put a little bit of meaning into it. So number 6 would be, they say no to giving the steering wheel of life to anyone else, which means like my tank and ship, you know, metaphor. You're the driver of your own ship. You're the driver of your own tank. Don't let somebody else drive your own, you know, automobile or cruise ship, wherever it is you want to be cruising down life. I say tank and I say ship because that's what we are. Well, we're human, but we want to act as if we're tanks or ships, and we want to blow away things that don't matter to us and just, you know, cruise another way, you know, find a different path, you know, maneuver around people, maneuver around situations and obligations sometimes that don't pertain to your goals. Take control of your time. You can't let other people set your agenda for you. Write your own to-do lists, write your own agenda, write your own way of life. Don't let somebody else draw your life for you. And they say no to people pleasing. This is what I'm saying, is that you don't want to put yourself in positions where you're pleasing other people and you're down in the dumps and you're just like, I'm only here because of said person or said group. Ignore those people. They're not paying attention to you, so don't pay attention to them. So stop wasting your time to benefit the needs of other people who take advantage of other people. I want to say like 40 to like 50%, you know, good half, maybe even pushing to 60% are manipulators in life. And I feel like a lot of us don't realize that we are manipulators because we're so down in the dumps all the time. and that it's that self-motivation that we need to work on, because we rely on other people to be motivated. We need to self-motivate ourselves to stay consistent, and that way we don't rely on other people. We become more independent, which we then become more approachable and trustworthy. And so don't waste your time in other people's bubbles when they're wasting your time. So be aware of that and be awoke about that, because if you're walking around like a zombie, you're just putting yourself in positions in life where you're just wasting time. So they're not people pleasers. Don't be a people pleaser. So number 4 would be decision reduction, which in life we make decisions all the time. You know, what we wear, what we eat, you know, how we talk and who we behave with and who we interact with, and what we watch and what we do, what we listen to. All these things we decide. We have to decide, what am I going to listen to? Where am I going to drive? Who am I going to see? What am I going to say? What am I going to think? What do I choose to hear? What do I choose to smell? You know, what do I choose to see? We do a lot of thinking, a lot of decisions throughout our day. How do we reduce our decisions? Is just by making it all the same. You know, if you have a wardrobe full of like 500 items, every morning is going to be I don't know, what the heck am I going to wear? You know, just wear the same shirt every day. You know, if you have a type of shirt that you like, just wear that shirt every day. You know, not the same shirt, but the same style of shirt every day. Like, have 5 shirts the same. I'm trying really hard to reduce the amount of t-shirts that I have. I've gotten down to maybe 20 shirts, but even then I'm trying to get down to maybe 7 shirts, and just keep rotating those until I get tired of them. That way in the morning it doesn't take a lot of energy or time in deciding what I want to wear, because I'm not big on logos unless it's simple like this. I don't like drawings and things like that. So I'm very plain. So I'm just like, I need a black, a blue, or I don't really like colors. I just do black, gray, or brown, or just like charcoal colors, or just bland colors. I don't like very poppy colors. When it comes to like pants, 1 pair of jeans, 2 sweatpants, 2 shorts, 7 shirts, 10 socks. Reduce. Eating. What do we eat? Every day we wake up and go, what am I going to eat? If you eat the same thing every morning, the same thing every lunch, and the same thing every dinner, or in the realm of similarity, chicken or shrimp, fish or shrimp, you know, bread, you know, eggs, things that you like, tofu, whatever it is. If you know you like it, keep eating it. And if you know it's healthy, keep eating it. If you're somebody who likes trying new foods and things like that, it's not going to work for you. But try your best to try eating this. Because, here, I'll give you an example, okay? Before the example, what this decision reduction does is, what deciding does and what choosing does is that it wastes a lot of brain power. And it drains your brain power. So if you eat and wear the same thing every day, you'll avoid the small decision making, and again, save time, save energy, and save money. So simple steps to take to avoid decision fatigue, right? To feel tired from deciding all day. Just do the same groceries online or in store, same day, every week, and use a pre-populated list for 90% of the items. So I know what my body likes, and I know what I like to eat. So I have a 90% populated grocery list that I do every week, you know, on Sunday at the same time. And I go through my list and I check out my fridge and I go, I have all these items still. I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have that. So that's what I need to get. Simple. That took not even a whole minute, you know. So then I go grocery shopping, and then I have food for the week. And then how I go about my days when it's food, I wake up, I have a smoothie, take my cat out, come back in, and I have about 3 or 4 breakfasts that I can choose from. So it's not the same thing every day. but it's in the realm of similarity, meaning I mix and match items to mix it up. Same items, but in the way that I eat them are different. My options usually include 2 eggs, 2 bacon, hash brown, not hash brown, a type of potato. I do orange juice or cranberry juice or apple juice. I do a smoothie. I do protein powder. So these are items. I can do omelets. I can do, what else do I do for breakfast? English muffins. I can do a bagel. So they're all like kind of in the realm, you know. And usually I start with a smoothie, and then I go down to like, okay, am I having 2 eggs, bacon, and potato, or am I having, you know, banana, yogurt, orange, you know, with juice. So, am I feeling meaty? Am I feeling fruity? Or if I'm feeling just bready, it's just 2 English muffin with banana and juice. Boom, breakfast. So, and then at lunch, it's usually a sandwich. Sandwich and carrot, sandwich and broccoli, or sandwich and chip if I'm feeling unhealthy. Dinner, chicken, shrimp, or fish with veggie, potato, bean, rice. You know, so just staples, healthy. And it's the same thing every night. It's the same thing every morning. But you know what? It's my body, and it's what I like to eat, and it's healthy, and it's good. Sometimes I skip a couple of days to just, you know, ump the shrimp a little bit to make it yummier. And I'll have a burger or something at takeout, whatever. But it's not like I'm eating takeout every single night. See, I have a pre-populated grocery list, pre-populated breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all organized and right. All I have to do as the individual, see, it's already written. What we need to do is write down our thoughts, so that way we don't decide. We can just look at things. It becomes easier. So all I do is just, I go to my kitchen and I go, that is what I want, that is what I want, that is what I want. Easy. It took 15 seconds. You know, that's what I'm having for dinner, that's what I'm having for lunch, and that's what I'm having for breakfast. Easy. I'm not there looking at my fridge going, oh, I have all this food, and then I also have food rotting, and then I also have food that I want to eat. Oh, but then I also want to have takeout, and then I also want to have, you know, whatever, you know, cake, dessert. It's like junk food. You've already wasted a good 5 minutes on just staring at your fridge, when you could have just been like, boom, 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 this is what I'm having for today, let's get on with the day. So it's these decisions that we do throughout the day that waste time, money, and energy on both ends. So as you reduce what you wear, what you eat, what you say, what you hear, and what you read and what you see, your day becomes more open in a way. So and that leads us down to our 5th rule from Warren Buffett, which is the 5-hour rule, which is spending 5 hours a week learning, reading, developing, failing, trying new ideas, and just using 1 hour out of your day to think of a new idea, or to read, or to discuss, or to research. I say theories or philosophies, ways of life. Take notes of what you read without getting distracted. You know, use an hour out of your day, whether that's watching a documentary and then writing down what you watched or what you've read or whatever. Different forms of learning: classroom, books, online, mentor, teachers. You know, failure is the best teacher. Research, and then a mix of these will give you the best results. So by the end of the week, you spend 5 hours learning. You know, learning things, whatever it is that you want to learn. Now, this doesn't have to pertain to your career goals. This is fun stuff. This is stuff that you're interested in, whether that's space or NASA, nature and National Geographic, you know, philosophies and Buddhism and Taoism, religion, you know, spiritual, you know, whatever it is that you want to dive into. So I say things that you can do to help you learn and improve is, number 1, read. Many highly successful people read and make it a habit to read every single day. So keeping a book nearby, whether that's your book, purse, bag, or whatever it is. I think I said book twice. If you have a book that you want to put in your bag or purse or backpack, read it on the daily. Read a couple of pages. You don't have to read a whole chapter. A lot of us think that when we read, we have to read the whole freaking chapter. No, just read a couple of pages, pick up from where you left off, and just keep on going, and keep the story, movie, whatever it is that you're reading going. Read a couple pages. Oh, you forgot, read the page again, whatever. Don't put a lot of pressure onto reading, because it's supposed to be fun. And then just reflect on what you've read. It's important to have reflection. Journalize and take notes on what you've read, so that way it's better imprinted in your brain. So when you go and develop your new idea, you can go back to your notes and go, oh yeah, this is what I thought of. And so another one is experiment and failure. Okay, you have the option to read, you have the option to just reflect on what you've read, or just reflect on your notes. This is what you can do in that 5 hours, within that week, that 1 hour a day. Set time within the week for out of the norm idea. You can try these out of the norm ideas. If you're a musician and you want to venture into a new genre a little bit, go to that out of the norm idea and see how you can develop a new song maybe. Or if you're a novelist or a writer, go into another theme or style and challenge yourself. Maybe it won't always work out at the end, but at least you tried, maybe failed, but then you can reflect back and see where you can improve on. So that there, with those 3 videos that cut off on me, is going to be the 5 rules that Warren Buffett implements on us and wants us to try to become more productive within our day. So that's number 1, making that 2-list strategy, circling 5 main goals and concentrating on them, making your commute to work, shorter, so that way you can work at home and produce more product, or making your commute fun and making it an enjoyable routine, so that way your day can be more productive and you're not so zombie like and groggy. We want to then practice, if I remember, number 3 was saying no to meaningless things. Saying no to meaningless things. So just practice on saying no. Have no be your best friend, because as soon as you get comfortable with the word no and learning the different types of ways you can say no, no thank you, I'm alright, thanks, I got this other stuff. You don't always have to just say no, just put in some flair into your excuse on why you shouldn't show up. And number 4 was decision reduction, right? Decision reduction meaning just reducing the decisions that you do throughout your day. What you wear, what you eat, what you hear. Think of your senses and what it is that you like but isn't really helping or you find distracting. You can reduce this by just eating the same thing every day and wearing the same thing every day, and that way you don't have to think about it. Reduces the decision making. Number 5 was the 5-hour rule, which is spending at least an hour a day learning, reading, reflecting, discussing, researching philosophy, whatever it is, nature, animals, or just, even if it has something to do with your careers, diving into new areas of life to help you create new ideas to push out for the world. And so there it is with those 3 videos, part 1, part 2, and part 3. We have those 5 rules from Warren Buffett. All of this, I don't think I gave credit to Philosophies of Life, which is a YouTube channel. And I get this information from, obviously, Warren Buffett, but I got this information specifically from Philosophies of Life, which again is a YouTube channel. I do link the channel on the description box below. And from there, you can find a 5 to 10 minute really quick video. It's an animation. It's really cool. You get all this information in an animation, really quick, quirky, fun, and engaging kind of video, which I love watching, which is why I then, give back to the community, YouTube community, this information in a more vloggy, talky kind of way. And so there you go. There you have it. The 5 rules of Warren Buffett and Philosophies of Life. And that's Zia, and I'm out, and it was cool watching myself talk for a whole hour. I enjoy these videos. I enjoy teaching and giving these ideas and ways of life and how to go about life. As it helps me, I hope it helps other people, and people are able to take these ideas and theories and lists and ways of life And I'm only 30, and I wish I knew this stuff when I was 20, so that way my 20s would have gone a lot more productive and not so zombie-like. For example, I started serving and started working in a restaurant in my early 20s, and then I was a musician. Oh, I'm still a musician, but I would just serve and do music, serve and do music, serve and do music, when I could have said no to a lot of things at the time and probably would have ventured out differently in life. But you can't reflect on your past, just concentrate on the now. And the knowledge that you have now is only going to benefit you more into the future. And so you just take it with a grain of salt if you want. But that's 5 rules from Warren Buffett. Next week, we will discuss probably another how to be successful. Again, all of this stuff comes from Philosophies of Life, a YouTube channel. I do descript it on the description box. And that's it. Zia out. I don't really promote anything else on these videos. So if you got it this far, all the way at the end at part 3, nothing really exciting happening in my life. I mean, I'm just writing music and I'm just doing these videos. No, nothing, because COVID sucks. All right, bye guys.